Good evening. Oil dipped to a price not seen in more than a decade, and Alberta's premier admits adjustments will have to be made to the upcoming budget. Oil dipped briefly below $30 a barrel today, and it closed just slightly above that benchmark. The dollar also fell today to its lowest level in nearly 13 years. Our Susan Emerald has been following this story today, and she was there at the Premier's news conference earlier today. The Premier had intended to be talking about pipelines.
And she did. The Premier sending a note to the National Energy Board outlining Alberta's support of the proposed expanded Kinder Morgan pipeline going through BC. But that was somewhat overshadowed by concern over the impact of low oil. Rachel Notley stating they realize they're operating in an environment of restraint. The Premier admitting Tuesday afternoon adjustments to the budget must be made.
So do we have to go back to the drawing board a little bit? Because obviously some of the projections have decreased. Absolutely.
Last fall, the NDP promised to spend money on new schools and hospitals, hire more teachers and nurses, and earmarked money to reduce school fees, start a school nutrition program, and provide a new child benefit for low-income families. Some of those may be put on hold in light of oil's slide.
Did we anticipate that that was the likely situation we'd find ourselves in at this time of the year? Yes. Are we doing that work? Yes.
The province is also working on finding new buyers for Alberta's oil and ways to get the oil to them. The Premier sending this letter to the National Energy Board supporting the Kinder Morgan project.
Our government believes that this project is good for Albertans and good for all Canadians.
Even though BC has recently come out against the project, it hasn't persuaded the Premier to withdraw support for the billion-dollar pipeline expansion from Alberta to the West Coast. Rachel Notley says it's important to realize the significance of our economic resource to not just Alberta, but Canada.
You can't just turn off the tap and walk away from it. You need to develop it responsibly, progressively.
The opposition says the government has to continue focus on gaining market access for Alberta products.
NDP has to really proactively work on these pipelines. They are the key going forward in the next few years.
Too late to help this year.
The way this can turn around, unfortunately, if you're an energy producer, the only way to turn around is to give it time.
But for an industry on edge, some reassurance on the pending royalty review.
I can say very definitively that no one's going to see a royalty review that increases anybody's costs in the near future.
And that report, twice delayed, is now supposed to be released at the end of January, Daryl.
And obviously the Premier didn't want to talk about details of that review, but in the meantime, they're hoping the oil price will recover. Also aware, though, of all the challenges the energy sector is facing.
And the province, of course, has already said that any changes in royalties would not kick in until 2017.
All right, Susan Emerald, thank you.